One of the important things behind Half Past First Cast was learning to pick the right travel gear. And frankly, traveling with a full-size rod tube has become a complete pain in the butt. But one of the things that's difficult about bringing travel rods to places that may not have the right tackle is that travel rods are often either non-specific to a particular application or made from crappy components. So that's why I'm excited to be here today with Chris Martin from Daiwa, because I found out they made a Musky travel rod.
Yeah.
And Chris, where did the idea or the impetus for the Musky travel rod come from?
Yeah, so a Musky travel rod is exactly as the name says. I mean, it's designed for the angler that's traveling from lake to lake. And like you said, traveling with a hard case with one-piece rods, not only is it, kind of dangerous, you could damage your rods. If you're flying with them, you don't know how the baggage handlers are going to, treat your equipment. So it was really important for us to appeal to those anglers that are moving around the country that much. And it's also a convenience factor. It's nice when you can, if you don't have a big truck, to lay down 8-9 foot rods in your truck bed. It's nice to be able to break it down, throw it into the, back seat or something like that. So, just make it more convenient. So those are the anglers we wanted to make happy. But, like you said, it's a rod that has a lot of different applications. We can talk about that a little bit later on.
Sure. Is it just one rod model, or are there multiples? In
so, yeah, in the Musky series, there are two separate rods. There is a heavy and an extra heavy, which is the model that I have in my hand. The heavy model is going to be like a max 80-pound braid. This model, the extra heavy, is going to be a max 100-pound braid. So these rods are pretty substantial.
Wow. Now, obviously, one of the things we've seen in travel rods in the past is that they're effectively disposable. And when you're dealing with a big fish like a muskie, any weak link is going to get compromised. So what are the components that were key to making this rod right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, a lot of travel rods don't have the best quality components. We wanted to change that with these rods. So the blank itself is a durable graphite blank. But the coolest thing about this rod is that it has what we call our V-joint technology. And basically what that means is that the joint connections on these rods are actually flexible. So that basically means that when you are using the rod, you can see that there is, go ahead and put your hand on the tip there and we'll show a bend test. It's a nice even bend throughout the rod. Now this is a 5-piece rod. And you don't see any flat spots throughout the entire bend of the rod because, like I said, each joint there is flexible. It's able to bend and distribute that pressure throughout the entire length of the rod. So not only does that make it a more durable rod, but it's also going to give you more pulling power because, again, you're dispersing that bend across all those connection points evenly. You don't have a high spot or a flat spot that's going to give you a weak link. So that's the V-joint technology on these. They're also outfitted with Fuji guides with alkanite inserts, so very durable, applicable for fresh and some light grade saltwater fishing as well. If you are going to take it to the saltwater, of course, we're going to recommend, you do want to rinse those guides off to preserve them, but they're definitely a saltwater capable rod too.
That's fascinating to me because the first thing I thought was a tuna trip.
Right.
And I would love to take this and go tuna fishing with it because, frankly, some of the saltwater popping rods, the Daiwa ones that I've used have been great, but some of the other ones, the handles are ungainly. This seems like for a bass fisherman like me, it would be a natural transition.
Yeah, absolutely. For the guys that like to throw, conventional tackle, with a bait caster or, a traditional conventional reel, this gives them that option to do that. And like you said, when I first saw this rod, I thought the same thing. Tuna would be a really fun thing to do. I took one of these out to go fish for yellowfin tuna in Southern California and had a blast with it. Now, they weren't huge fish. They were, between 20 and 30 pounds, but still such a fun fight on these nice travel rods.
The other thing we see a lot that I thought of immediately was swim baiting. People want a swim bait travel rod, and that would be perfect for those big wake baits or glide baits or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. These rods are built to go up to, on this model, is a max 18-ounce lure weight. So obviously built for muskie application too, but for the guys that want to throw those big swim baits, you can absolutely do this. These rods do come with a regular action built into them. So it's going to be that perfect type of bend to keep those big treble hooks pinned into that bass's mouth. So not only are you getting a rod that can do, have the pulling power, but also have the right kind of bend to keep those swim bait hooks pinned.
Now, if I'm going to Panama or on a Canada fly-in trip and I have 3 or 4 of these ready to go, how do I protect them on the way up there? Do you have a case or a case recommendation?
Yeah, so anytime you purchase any of these Arditos, they come with a soft travel case. It's padded internally, and it has sleeves for each of the sections to go into. So as it rolls up, you get more and more padding around each section. Not necessarily a hard case, but definitely does the job, absolutely, especially considering you can bring it in as a carry-on. You know, it's small enough that they're not going to hassle you with it as a carry-on either. You know, even if there's not space at your leg room, you could just tuck this up above a suitcase, you're good to go.
And I know reels are a matter of personal preference, of course, and budget. Give me 2 or 3 reels that you would want to pair up with.
Sure,
this.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, the first one that jumps out to me, being that it is a Musky reel, we would look for the ProRex models. So, for the Musky market, this is one of the best reels. This is our ProRex 400. So, it's got a nice deep capacity spool, perfectly suited for 80, 65, 100-pound braid, whatever is your preference. These reels have a 28-pound drag system, so plenty of pulling power, matches up great with the rod as well. So that would be what we would go for the Musky market. Now, if you're that angler, which we talked about is going to be traveling to maybe some saltwater, we would look more towards the Lexa series. Within the Lexa series, we have a standard Lexa, which is this model right here. This is the Lexa 400. You could go with a 300 too, but 400 is probably going to balance out a little bit better. Lexa is just, it's a phenomenal reel. This model is going to feature our standard brass gearing system. It's also going to have a 22-pound drag system, nice oversized handles on there, as well as a mag force braking system. Same system that is in the ProRex as well. So you can adjust for your lure weights, wind conditions, all that kind of stuff, avoiding backlashes with this model as well. But if you want to take it to the top end for both freshwater and saltwater application, I can't stray away from the Lexa T-Wing 400. So you'll notice it's very similar in terms of the chassis to the ProRex model. Same kind of design, but this one has a few key different features. So first and foremost, the Lexa TW, it's a feature that you can't really see, but it's the corrosion-resistant bearings that are built in throughout the reel. So whether you're fishing in saltwater or freshwater, those corrosion-resistant bearings are going to last you a very long time. Saltwater fishing, absolutely appropriate. The other thing with the Lexa T-Wing models is that they feature a stainless steel pinion gear and a brass drive gear. A lot of people think that that's weird that you would blend 2 different metals together. The reason for that is because the brass is a little bit softer, okay? So that's going to allow it to blend into that harder stainless steel pinion gear. So you get a much smoother rotation while you're fighting against a fish. After that, the reel has the same 28-pound drag system as the ProRex model. I love these reels. I throw them for everything from calico bass all the way up to yellowfin tuna. I've even caught bluefin tuna on these reels. Not big ones, up to like that 50-pound mark, but these reels can definitely handle it. So, you know, for the guys that are going to be going down south looking to target, you know, roosterfish or jacks in the surf or something like that, or from jetties and whatnot, this is a reel that can absolutely handle that type of a beating.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And we really appreciate Daiwa reaching out to the travel market. There are a few companies that see the value in it. I'm glad that you all do, and I hope you continue that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Thanks. Check them out. They're awesome for big species. Obviously, if you're a musky guy, it's made for you, but don't discount it if you chase other big fish too.